Alright, so continuing to update you all. Within those 3 days when I came back from school on April 1st, that Sunday, and through Wednesday, April 4th, the day before my surgery, I was mainly just working on schoolwork, trying not to get too behind, cleaning up my room, moving furniture around so that we could put this lovely recliner, which I am now sitting in my room, which is now where I sleep at night, at least for a while. This is where I'll stay. It's where I spend most of my time too. Um, so yeah. Anyways, kept doing all that stuff, getting the house in order for all of my family that was about to roll in, and then on Wednesday, um, I spent the majority of the day cleaning, actually. But then we had a fellowship dinner at my church that me and my parents went to, and by that time, Jerry and Jen had gotten here, and so we took them with, well, we met them at the church. And I was introducing them to various people at church, which is kind of cool and strange at the same time to see the worlds coming together. Um, and then from there, we just came back to our house and we sat around for the longest time and just talked. And mom was telling stories, and Jen and Jerry were sharing stories too. And my dog was curled up with Jen, and my cat was curled up with Jerry. And it was just very calm and relaxed. And then once it got a little later and we took Jerry and Jen over to our family friend's house. It's my good friend Liz's house. They were staying there since all of my family had taken up all the rooms in my house. So we took them over there and got them settled, and Liz had prepared this huge gift basket for me with all of these things, ribbons and teas and manicure things and pedicure things and new pajamas and this awesome, like, I don't even know what you. It's like a poncho, not like a rain poncho. I don't even know what to call it. Um, Ellen's comment was that it was tribal, which is kind of true. I would hold it up for you, but I'm not going to move from this chair because that takes way too much effort. But anyways, it was awesome, and also there was a gift bag from Liz's boyfriend Eric, and he had given me movies and a shirt, an athletic shirt from the new cancer center at VCU in Richmond, and some sunglasses and post-its and stuff, and it was awesome. So we stood around and talked for a long time, and then Dad said, it's time to go home. And I came home, and that's when I started fiddling around and getting really antsy, and I got in the shower almost at midnight because you have to shower the night before surgery and do these antiseptic wipe down things, which make you feel really sticky, and you have to do it like all over your body, so it's just gross. And at that point, like, you don't even want to crawl in bed because you feel all sticky. It's just nasty. Um, and so that's when I did that video blog update, trying to catch you all up on my PC weekend. Um, but yeah, some nerves were definitely starting to set in, but I finally went to bed around 2, got up at 6:45, and me and my parents and my brother headed to the hospital. Megan was already waiting for us there, which was awesome. I got into my room and there was already a balloon and a card from Christy, the mom of my good friend Peyton, and that was good to just come into a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. Um, and soon after that, Jen and Jerry were there, and then the characters rolled in, and my good friend's mom, Betsy, the mother of Chris and Andrew, came and saw me, which was good because I adore her. She's precious. She actually saw me on Friday too, but I'll get to that later. Day by day, folks, day by day. Anyway, Betsy came and visit, and so did Kaki, which is a good friend of my mother's. And my grandmother actually showed up in time to see me beforehand, and she got to hang out in my room for a little while. And she met everybody too. And then the nurse came in and told us that it was going to be a little bit later because the surgery before mine had run a little bit later than they had intended. So it was probably going to be like 11:45 when they took me to the prep room when my surgery was actually supposed to start at 11:30. So I was a little frustrated because I had gotten to the hospital at 7:30 that morning, and sitting around for 4 hours to not really do anything, like much of anything at all. Like, they hadn't even given me meds. Um, it was frustrating. Um, so I started getting a little antsy, and they gave me, they just gave me an Ativan to take the edge off things, and to get me to calm down a little bit. And we decided it would be a good time to pray, and so we all stood in a circle around my bed. And actually, Liz, my good friend, was laying in the bed with me with her arms around me. I was holding Mom's hand on my left, and then my youth minister on my right, and then it was my dad and Jerry and Jen and my brother and my grandmother. And Megan led us in a good prayer, and afterwards, most people were crying, especially Mom and Dad. And it was really real at that moment. It was hard. And it was literally like not even 5 seconds after we finished praying. The nurse Cleveland walked in. It was actually really funny because he was my nurse that got me prepared to in my spring break surgery, so I remembered him, so it was kind of cool. But he wheeled me down there. Mom and Dad went with me. Anesthesiologist came, and Plot came, and Henry and Wilson came. They were talking to me, just answering any last questions that I had. Anesthesiologist was making sure I didn't have any issues with the meds. And the nurses were really good. It was the same nurses that got me ready again for my spring break surgery. So we were just chit-chatting away, and then it was time to go, and my nurse was wheeling me down this long white hallway, and I was very conscious of everything going on around me at that point. The meds hadn't really hit me yet, and I went into the operating room, and the nurse who was wheeling me in there was like introducing me to the various people around the room. I I don't remember your names. I'm sorry. I think one of you was Joan or something like that, and that's about all I got. Um, but they got me to move myself onto the operating bed, and they were talking about some things, and then the anesthesiologist was saying, now you can relax, just breathe, go to sleep, have sweet dreams. It's all gonna be good. And at that, I was gone. Um, and the next thing I know, I'm waking up in the recovery room and in pain, in a lot of pain. Um, and my nurse was Bethany. She was adorable and she was sweet, very sweet. Um, and she took very good care of me, and took my socks off because I was too hot, and took a blanket off, and just had a sheet on top of me because I was really hot. And there was some other patient was in the recovery room, Mr. Martin, and I don't know if I should be talking about this, but whatever. Um, he wasn't listening to his nurses, and so they were just sitting there the entire time. You need to sit still, Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, do you know where you are? Mr. Martin, do you know what's happened to you, Mr. Martin? Blah blah blah. And I was like, please, like, I just wanted to rest in peace and quiet, and so that was really aggravating. And I was really thirsty and really hungry because I hadn't had anything since like 11:30 on Wednesday night, so the night before. Um, and it was well past 12 hours, whatever. So Bethany started feeding me some ice chips, which held me for a little while, and then um, actually one of the nurses who got me prepared for surgery was in the recovery room at that point, and she started helping Bethany as well, and the two of them led me down to wheeled me down to my room where I would recover, and my family was waiting for me, and they got me into this room, and it was a really small room. Um, and they made me get myself, like, inch myself out of one bed into the other, and oh my god, oh my Lanta, woo! I can still feel the pain aching in my body. That was really hard, and I couldn't use my arms, my hand, nothing. So I was like pushing myself up on my neck essentially, and moving my butt over, and then trying to move my back. It was hard. And that at that point, my sister Taylor and her husband, my brother-in-law Michael, were there, so it was good to see them. I was in a lot of pain though, and so they only visited for a little while. I kept saying that I was hungry, I was starving, and I really just wanted some real food, and all they gave me was Jello and a lemon icy, and I was like, guys, this is not gonna cut it. Like, I need real food. Um, So they they didn't. Usually, you're not supposed to have real food if you're under anesthesia for that long. Because I didn't get back to my room until I guess it was like 5:30 or so. Like it was a 4-hour surgery at least. Um, 3.5, 4 hours, something like that. Whatever. All minute details. Um, so yeah, but finally that night, they approved. My nurse approved me to eat real food. She like listened to my stomach and said that it was making all the right sounds. Which is strange for me that nurses can judge whether or not I can eat real food by the sound. Whatever. Um, so I had macaroni and cheese at 11 o'clock that night, which was excellent. And I slept pretty well that night. Mom stayed at the hospital with me, and the next and I had to pee like during the night, and that was a pain in the butt because like I'm hooked up to the IV. Like this is, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, but there's my little mark right there, and it's real sore right now, especially today for some reason. I don't know. But I was hooked up to an IV, and the room was really small, and so trying to maneuver the IV from one side of the bed to the other to get to the bathroom, and me trying to get out of the bed without using my arms and only my legs in excruciating pain was challenging. So I had to do that quite a few times in the middle of the night, so that I could go to the bathroom. Luckily, the bathroom wasn't that far. Um, but yeah, so that was day one. And when I got back to my room, there were already flowers in my room from the provost office. Thank you, Anita, very much. It said from the provost office and your PC friends. And that was the one that stayed in my hotel room, my hospital room, the entire time I was there. And they're actually, ooh, sorry, went dark. They're actually the only flowers right now that are sitting in my room. The rest of the flowers are in the living room. Um, but yeah, so that's update for Thursday, April 5th. I'm going to close this one out and do another one for the next few days. Well, probably day by day. So, stay tuned!